Mr. Gunn.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir? My name's Corey Coleman. I'm here with my partner Jeff, Professor Jeff. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm very good. How are you guys?
Great.
Yeah, doing well, man. I really appreciate you taking the call from us so late at night. It's what, 8 o'clock over there on the West Coast?
Yeah, it's 8. That's not late to me.
I'm just saying, I figured big time writer and director like you would be living it out on the town right now instead of talking to assholes like us.
I do like to live it up, but man, I had to wake up at 6 o'clock this morning to go do E3, so it's not one of those nights.
Yeah, out there promoting that lollipop chainsaw, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I just want to say, first of all, before we get into the game, of course, I know you from the movies. You made, and this isn't this isn't some kind of ass kissing thing going on right here. It's Jeff, you know what I'm saying? Because it really is an honor to talk to you. You've made some movies that I love. I dare say one of them is my favorite movie, or one of my favorite movies. Well, you, as a writer, you've written the remake of Dawn of the Dead, and I love that film. And,
thanks, man. Thank you.
And I think that you've done a couple of films that you've directed that I think they're pretty underappreciated. I really loved Slither when it came out. And
thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that movie is like criminally underrated if you ask me. And where were these goddamn horror fans when that movie came out, man? And then
yeah. I mean, I feel like Slither in a lot of ways was. I don't know if people say it underrated, and it's like it's not really underrated because even still, like you go to the top 10 best reviewed horror movies of all time, and Slither is one of them. So it was rated pretty highly. It was underseen. That's the problem.
Okay, let me change that then.
I wish more people had underappreciated, underseen. Yes, I wish more people had seen it. But it seems like in fact, tonight it played in England, and I know I was getting 100 tweets from people watching it on TV. So it's stuck around, and people still watch it. So that's always cool.
Well, that's cool. And the other movie that I was going to mention, I was lucky enough to catch Super when it showed. See, I'm in Austin, Texas right now. We're both in Austin, Texas.
Right. Yeah. I love Austin.
Yeah. And you came and you showed Super here for South by Southwest. And I was actually at one of the screenings. I was at the screening that you did the Q&A for afterwards. And I love that movie, man.
Now, did you go to the big screening where Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page and I were? Okay. Or was it a small screening?
Yeah, it was the one where you and your girlfriend were there. And
oh yeah. Like early in the morning. Did you go to that one?
No, hell no. I don't get up early in the morning, man. You talking to?
Yeah, I didn't. I know, me neither, man. It's like.
Let me say, I love Superman, but I don't love it that much. I'm gonna get up early in the morning and go see it.
yeah, no doubt. No, I don't love it that much either.
Yeah, no, I went to one. It was at a theater where it was at night, and you were there. And you actually gave a really good Q&A for it just being you. In fact, I think your assistant had to come and drag you out because you were still going.
Yeah. When people have questions and stuff, I feel bad leaving before I can answer most of them. So, usually they kick us out because, the theater has another screening to show. But I like to stick around and answer questions from people.
Yeah.
But, that was in fact, the big South by Southwest screening, which was, it was at night, and it was me and Ellen Page and Rainn Wilson. That was one of my favorite screenings I've ever done of any movie, I think. That was really a fun time. So it's a great town, and that's a great festival for showing movies too.
Yeah, you're not just saying that. Like if I told you I was at Sundance, you wouldn't have been saying, "Oh, Sundance is my favorite place." I'd be saying
Sundance is the best there. Well, I've never been to Sundance, so I couldn't even lie about that. But no, really, South by Southwest is like, we had a great screening at Toronto at the Toronto Film Festival. But I think I like the South by Southwest big screening even more than the Toronto one. Had a couple of other screenings in other countries, which is always really interesting, because like you go to a country like Germany, and people laugh at everything, or at least they did, was super. It was like, so there's some great screenings in other countries. In Italy, it's great because people really like the movie, but also at the end they come up and sort of worship you, which is always very nice to be sort of worshipped by a foreign country. But each screening has its own special thing. But that South by Southwest one was one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, see, Austin is cool because I can't say that we'll worship you. I mean, people they love you, but we don't worship you as much as we'll just get you fucked up. We'll get you. Yeah. We drink a lot here, so that's probably why you had such a great time.
Yeah. But you know what? There's some good-looking women in Austin, actually.
Yeah, you goddamn right. There's some good-looking women in Austin.
Where do you think we live here?
Well, listen, man. There's good-looking women everywhere, of course. But I mean, a pretty fair percentage. I'm always surprised by the amount of good-looking women in Austin, Texas. Yeah. Because obviously you expect them in New York, you expect them in Los Angeles. I didn't expect them in Austin.
Well, you need to do a screening in Miami because the women are great in Miami.
Oh, now that I hear. Yeah. I mean, I've never been to Miami. I like Cuban women too, so
man, then you need to go to Miami. This is kind of sexist, but in Miami, women don't even need faces. The bodies are so good, But anyway, man, I'm gonna give Jeff a chance here to talk to you too, because now that we got all this movie stuff out the way,
I just want to know, when is the feature length version of PG Porn coming? Oh, I love that series so much.
PG Porn. Why did I not mention that? PG Porn is hilarious, man.
Yeah. I'm actually trying to work out a deal to get PG Porn going again. So we'll see what happens, because I'd love to shoot some more episodes. But PG Porn was one of the most fun times of my life. They did extremely well. We've got like 40 million hits on PG Porn. But the problem with PG Porn is advertisers are very afraid of advertising on something with the word porn in it, even though there's PG before it.
I figure advertisers would love it because porn is the biggest business out there. Like I expect you to say, you know what, after I'm done with this video game shit, I'm going to go straight into porn. You got the name for it. Let's admit it. James Gunn.
Yeah, well, there was an old porn director named Jim Gunn a while back, and I actually met him at an adult video convention.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, and he's my father.
Yeah, my dad. Yeah, it wasn't even his real name. He was very defensive about it.
I want to. We're going to get into Lollipop Chainsaw, but I have to ask real quick, since we're talking about PG porn. For people who don't know what PG porn is pornography with colorful animation drawn over it to make it look more innocent than the actual sex that you see. So you took old porn footage, right?
On PG Porn that's actually, somebody took what you're talking about and put PG Porn on it, but that is they used our name because on PG Porn,
because you had Nathan Fillion in doing some of that stuff.
Yes, exactly. Our PG Porn it's pornography for people who love everything about porn except the sex. So, like when you're enjoying a nice pornographic film and you're enjoying the acting and the music and the set dressing, the cinematography, and then all of a sudden you come in with some hardcore graphic sex and you're like, why did they have to ruin this wonderful movie with that? PG Porn is for those people who love that. You finally, in PG Porn, you finally get, when a pizza man comes to deliver a pizza to a beautiful woman, you finally get what you've always wanted, which is a pizza. So, and every episode has like an actual porn star like Sasha Grey or Jenna Hayes or Belladonna, and we team them up with a mainstream actor like Rainn Wilson or Alan Tudyk, also from Serenity, or Craig Robinson from The Office, and it was a really, really fun series to do.
Yeah, no, I remember that, man. I'm sorry I got it mixed up with the other.
No, that's all right. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly.
So, all right, now Jeff is sitting up here, and he's been so patient, and I commend him for that. I want to give him a chance to talk about what he knows best, which is video games, and let's go ahead and segue into that right now. So, did you just sit around and just say, man, I've written movies, I directed movies, I've done the porn thing now, and I might as well just do video games. I mean, how did you get into what made you want to make that transition into doing video games now?
Well, I am a big gamer, so I've always wanted to, be involved with making a game, and I've thought of ideas and come up with stuff, but I never really had to follow through with it. I keep getting sucked up by movies mostly, you know. It's like the same thing. I've always wanted to write a comic book. I love comic books. Had to deal with Marvel to write a comic book, and then I just kept getting sucked up in making movies and just never got around to doing it. Same thing with a video game. But about 2 years ago, Warner Brothers came to me along with this guy by the name of Suda 51. Suda 51 is the sort of rock and roll star of Japanese game designers. And they said, we want to show you something. And so they showed me this little bit of this little clip of test footage of this hot, sexy high school cheerleader with a chainsaw cutting up zombies. And as she cut up the zombies, this mixture of gore and then also rainbows and little pink hearts are coming out of the zombies. I'm like, this is aesthetically like turned me on so much. I thought that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I said, God, what do you want me to do? I'll do whatever. And so I went and I helped them to, you know, write the story, create the characters, and, you know, create what is Lollipop Chainsaw. And, it's, you know, again, it's been a couple years that we've been working on this, and now it comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah, congratulations, man. I have to say, when I first heard about it, just to so let you know, I'm just being upfront with you. When I first heard about it and saw some concept art, I thought to myself, this looks very gimmicky. It looks like something that just really wants to ride the whole zombie craze right now. But the more I've been seeing about it, is the game looks like a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to playing
the gameplay is a lot of fun. The gameplay itself, and also, I mean, it's very trippy, you know. So I think it's really, you know, if people want something different, if people want something funny, it is really, the game is funny throughout. We've got really good actors in it, so it's like, you know, this woman Tara Strong plays Juliet. She's a famous voice actor. And then Michael Rosenbaum, who is Lex Luthor on Smallville, is her decapitated head of a boyfriend that she carries around with her everywhere. And so they kind of have this Abbott and Costello, relationship with each other, where they're, you know, constantly bickering and fighting. And she's very optimistic and he's very pessimistic, which, you know, I would be too if I was only a head.
Yeah.
And, and it's the whole game is really just fun, you know. And it is a zombie game, and you can kill zombies. That's what you do throughout the whole game, is kill zombies. But there's a lot more to it than that, to me. You know, it touches on a lot of different things.
Well, I'm curious. How exactly does the zombie outbreak begin in this game? I mean, I've seen a lot in this particular day and age. A lot of times we just gloss over that. It's just like, no, they're zombies, whatever. But is there a story
because our zombies are much more mystical in nature. So there's this guy, Swan, who's played by my brother Sean Gunn, who was on the Gilmore Girls for 7 years. And Swan is a goth rock kid who was in love with Juliet in high school. And he, you know, conjures these sort of zombie spirits and these great rock and roll zombies. Different types of rock and roll boss zombies show up. There's a hippie zombie and a rockabilly zombie and a punk rock zombie played by my buddy Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self-Indulgence. The hippie zombie is Shawnee Smith from Saw. And they all, you know, sort of team up and then lead this sort of zombie apocalypse. And that's where it starts.
I like that, you know, because I had actually been reading up on the game and I noticed that there was more of a supernatural element to it than the scientific. I'm like, you know, we see enough of that now. The whole thing of of biting other people and changing them into zombies. I like that you kind of took the supernatural, mystical approach to it right now.
Yeah, you can still get infected through bites, but it's that's really where it started from. And it's, you know, listen, the whole thing, it's really just. The Japanese people, you know, because I worked with these Japanese guys, they have a much different way of looking at story than we do as Westerners. We look at things as plot, like one thing leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next. Everything's kind of connected. Everything kind of makes sense. And Japanese people are very poetic, you know, so it's like they just really care about like the imagery and the dreaminess and the strangeness and all of that. And that's really cool when you get used to it. But it's also, for us in creating the story, there's like a lot of push and pull. And I think what we ended up with is a very interesting hybrid of Japanese and American culture. It has both what I sort of do well, and it has what Suda does well. And it makes the movie, it makes the game interesting because of that cross-cultural feel to it. And it has that feel throughout. You know, there's some things that's very American. There's like, you know, I have jokes about, you know, Seth Green and all this stuff in there. But at the same time, there's all this weird Japanese stuff. So it's pretty cool because of that.
So you say poetic, I say crazy when it comes to the Japanese. And that's what I like about the game, is that it's very wild, and it has a sense of humor when it comes to the zombie genre. We've seen a lot of dark and serious tones right now. I think this is kind of something that people will be attracted to just because it is a lot of humor. And if people know your name, they're going to be even more attracted to it because they know that your sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that people ask me about what do the zombies remind me most of? And I think the zombies remind me the most actually of Return of the Living Dead, if you know those movies.
Oh, man. You want a party? Yeah, man, what you talking about? I'm a zombie fan, man.
Because they're funny, they talk, they're weird, and it really does have that same sort of campy, over-the-top flavor of Return of the Living Dead, which is a movie I love a lot, actually.
Cool. Now, I've seen a lot of footage of this, and it looks like most of the game takes place in Juliet's high school. I was just curious to know, is that the only environment in the game, or do you actually?
No. I think I think that's just because they don't want to spoil too many of the levels in what happens in the game. So the first couple levels take place in and around the high school, but there's a lot of other places, and they're on the internet. So there's like Michael Rooker plays this Vicky the Viking, this Viking zombie, Viking metal zombie, and there's a big battle up on a floating ship in the sky where they fight, and there's sort of this psychedelic farm with these mushrooms and talking and talking cows and stuff. It's crazy. This game is crazy. I haven't really talked much about the specifics of this stuff, but it's there's a lot of different crazy, whacked out environments in the game.
I want to ask you that forgive me for using this term, but the game looks, for lack of a better description, it looks sort of like a hack and slash, if I can say that.
Yeah, I mean it's a fighting game. That's what the game is.
Yeah.
There's fighter games, and that's what you gotta. She's got a chainsaw which she uses to kill zombies. She can do a bunch of different chainsaw moves. She can do cheerleading moves which can kill zombies. She can change the chainsaw into a bunch of different. She's also got stripper pole moves. I think it's the first game that ever has chainsaw killing zombies stripper pole moves. And then she can upgrade her gun to she can shoot her boyfriend's head out of it, and there's all bunch of weird, crazy.
Well, the reason why I brought up the hack and slash the mode of gameplay is because a lot of people would say, well, hack and slash games are fun, and a lot of times though, unless you're talking about some of the better known hack and slash games such as God of War or something like that, they say it's a very limited area right now in terms of the variety of gameplay that you have, and some would even say the creativity. And I mean, and I'm not saying that this game is that at all. I guess my question is going to be, knowing that criticism is out there, what would you say against that?
Well, I mean, listen, there are people like different types of games. I mean, basically to me, it's a fighting game, but Halo is a fighting game, Doom was a fighting game. These are all, that's what Lollipop Chainsaw is. You fight your way through it. And if you like fighting in a game, then you're going to dig the game, because not only is there the fighting there, but there's a whole environment and the humor and the fun and the sexiness and all of that stuff that's very unique to this game. But if you don't like that kind of fighting game, then you don't want to play the game. Listen, I love fighting games. I love fighting games. I love stealth games. And I love RPGs. That's what I play. I don't, there are other games that I don't care so much about. I mean, I really want to play Portal because everybody keeps telling me how great it is, but I'm like, it's a puzzle game. I don't really like puzzle games, It's like everybody likes different types of things. So it just depends on if it's your taste or not.
That actually brings up a pretty good or interesting question. In the last Suda 51 game, Shadows of the Dam, they had a bunch of different gameplay sequences that were like side-scrolling shooters, and they had kind of a different mechanic with there was like a darkness that you had to fight against. Yeah. Is there anything like that here?
Yeah. There's total stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff. There's like one of my favorite levels is she goes to fight the funk zombie. He's sort of like the Rick James of zombies who speaks through like a vocoder. And he's getting his funk on, and in it becomes like, because most of the levels are like from a certain era. There's a 60s era, there's a whatever, and it's an 80s era, and then all of a sudden she becomes a part of all these different 80s arcade type games. So there's a game where it's a Pac-Man type thing, and there's a side-scrolling thing where she's fighting through having to jump onto different elevators and fight zombies within these elevators as she's going through the levels. And so it's that sort of like just ability of Suda and the gang to be willing to make these massive tonal shifts in the middle of a game to keep things fresh and to keep things new and to keep things fun. And that's also within, the game, It's cool.
Nice, man. I mean, you're selling me on this game, man. You're selling me. I want to play it now. You know what? For the 70s, you didn't get a Bootsy Collins zombie, baby.
Yeah, we have all sorts of Parliament Funkadelic jokes. We got everything in there, man. It's the best.
Oh man, this is my game, man. I haven't even played it yet. You made my game. I'm telling you, I can't wait to play this. You say you're a gamer, and I know you're very busy. And we'll wrap this up pretty soon. Just a couple of more things.
It's all good.
So you're a gamer. You're into games, and you describe the kind of games that you like. Two things here. What are you playing right now that you love? And you're there at E3. You're seeing a whole lot of stuff that we're not able to see who can't attend. What are you looking forward to playing?
Well, I am really excited. I'm a big Hitman fan, and Hitman Absolution, I just played a little bit of it today. Man, I cannot wait to play that game. Like, that's the game I'm the most excited about.
Really?
But, yeah, I don't know. Have you ever played Hitman? I love it. I'm a total son of a bitch when it comes to games, and my Hitman will go. You can play Hitman. Like, the great thing about Hitman is you can play kind of whatever mood you're in. You can play it as a stealth game where you're trying to sneak around and kill people, or you can play it and just all out murder everyone. And that's usually what I do, is try to murder every person on every level in Hitman. And
I thought so. I said to myself, this guy impresses me as one of those evil motherfuckers.
I do it in the game, so I don't have to do it in real life. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's not evil. It's like I'm using my evil in a way where I don't have to mess with other people's lives.
Yeah. Keep playing games, man, before we hear about you eating somebody's face off or something.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
What are you playing right now? If you have time to play anything, but what are you playing right now?
Well, I play a couple things. First of all, I had to take a little break, but I started playing Mass Effect 3, and I'm not done with that. But I dig Mass Effect games a lot, and Mass Effect 2 was one of my favorites. And then I just got this game, Witcher 2, which I'm excited to play.
Very good.
And then I also play, I don't know if you guys know tower defense games at all. But there's some on Xbox Live, and then also you can play them on your iPad. And I am absolutely insanely crazy about tower defense games. Completely 100% addicted to them.
So you're into like Plants vs. Zombies and stuff like that, then?
Plants vs. Zombies is like a really basic version, sort of a tower defense game. But there's a game called Tower Madness, which people can get. I just got this other game called Tower Raiders Gold 2 on both these games on iPad, and I can sit there and play those games for 15, 16 hours straight on the iPad. Nice. So those games get me going.
Okay. You got anything?
Yeah. Actually, I got one last question about Lollipop Chainsaw. And being a giant Suda51 geek and seeing that you have a game with a grindhouse protagonist with somebody's head strapped to their waist, and the last Suda51 game was a grindhouse protagonist with somebody's head that turned into a gun. Is there any way that we could get a Lollipop Chainsaw Shadows of the Damned crossover? A mashup? Yeah.
Well, listen, the Grasshopper owns the right, so that would have to be a question for Suda. But I'm sure, I imagine if Suda, if this game does well, then Suda would be willing to do that if there was a call for it. I spent all day with Suda today, and he's an awesome guy. He's nervous as hell right now because the game's about to come out, and he's got a lot riding on this. This is a big thing for him. His other games are, they did okay business. Some people this is some people, but they're cult games, and I think that we hope to sell a few more units of Lollipop Chainsaw, and we'll see how it goes. Hey, I hope we do.
I just got to ask you something. Did you get to play any of that Resident Evil 6 at all?
No, I haven't.
Damn.
I haven't.
Damn, that's,
yeah.
I'm silly for that game, man.
Yeah, here's the thing about. Have you been to E3 before?
Jeff has. I have not.
Yeah.
So Jeff knows what it's like. I mean, it's for me, unless I can just walk up and play a game right there, and even then I'm surrounded by people and all this stuff. Walking around and standing in line for 3 hours for the opportunity to play a game, I'm never going to do. Like, that's not worth it. I'll wait the 3 months till the game comes out so I can actually own it and play it in the comfort of my house. But E3 to me, I don't quite get all of it because I can walk around, I see everything in a couple of hours, and then I'm done because I'm not going to stand in line to play a game.
Wait.
You can't just walk up and say, "I'm James Gunn, bitch."
I mean, with some places I probably could, but listen, people are waiting in line to do stuff, but it's, Hitman, one of the reasons I played it was because I was able to play it. Now, I was excited about that game anyway. Yeah. But I can't. I'm not going to wait in line for that long to play these games.
I wouldn't even want to be at E3 this year. That'd be like one big cock tease to me. All the games that I'm really looking forward to, they've pushed off to 2013, like Tomb Raider and BioShock. I mean, I'm like, this year would just seem like that's just playing with me a little bit. But
I think it's a crazy time anyway because everyone knows the next generation machines are going to be coming soon, and so developers are in this really difficult place where they're going to, some of them actually I know are actually making games for the next generation stuff. But it's a weird in between time, and I think E3 was a little more mellow this year than last year because of that.
Yeah, a lot of sequels. Yeah.
Sequels.
Oh my God, so many sequels.
And
it's like that's all there is.
And we had this sneaky suspicion that maybe some games were pushed back to 2013 so that they can maybe do some next gen console development for those. But we're not sure. But anyway, man, really happy to have you talk to us. And before you go, just real quick, what's the next movie that you're working on?
Well, I've got a movie coming out with the Farrelly brothers. I think this is coming out in I don't know when the hell it's coming out. I think it's coming out in January, but and they keep changing the title on me. And 1 minute it's called Movie 43, then the next minute it's called Red Band, but it's a bunch of, shorts, comedy shorts. All of them are extremely extreme and over the top. And it's by different comedy directors, and I did one of those shorts, and that's pretty fun. It's with Elizabeth Banks and Josh Duhamel and this animated creature, like sort of old school 2D Pete's Dragon animated creature in this really offensive short film.
Yeah, it wouldn't be your short if it wasn't offensive, right?
Yeah, I guess not. And that's my thing, I suppose. And so I'm doing that, and then I'm working on another movie with an actor we're trying to get going, and so we'll see how that goes. We'll figure it out.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And let me just say, the women here in Austin are pretty hot, but I don't know if you're still with her, so I don't want to bring up a sore spot, but that girlfriend you had, she was pretty hot too, man. You're doing all right. You're doing okay.
She's hot. We're not together anymore, but she's one of the best girls ever. We're still very, very close friends. I saw her just the other day. We are no longer together, but thank you. Yeah.
What's her number?
She was great. I'll text it to you afterwards.
Okay. Well, yay, man. Thank you for having a great sense of humor. And really, it was a big pleasure for me to talk to you because you've done some movies that I absolutely love, whether you wrote them or directed them. You got any last words, Jeff?
No, it was great to talk to you about the game. I'm looking forward to it next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. Good.
All right.
Good time.
Hey, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.